Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Escape Plan 2, Hades, starring Sylvester Stallone, Dave Bautista, Jamie King, and 50 Cent, and directed by Stephen C. Miller. And you're wondering, where have I been? How come I haven't released this show yet? Well, this is the reason. I am bald, and I'm gonna love it to be in prison like this. But I didn't go to prison, I was just playing around. So, let's get into this and see if it's any better than Deep Blue Sea 2. We open with Lucas Graves from IEP News, or as a fake out, played by Jesse McCaffey, being tortured, and we get our main character that will get arrested later in the film, Shu, and he's worse here than Sly Stallone in last week's movie. And they escape the prison where they'll be tortured, and the filmmakers are shaking the fucking camera. Stop shaking the goddamn camera, please. Even if it's an action scene, knock that shit off. Ray Breslin, returned by Sylvester Stallone, owns his own security company in Atlanta, Georgia, and he's not as bad here as last week when he was a bland character in the first movie, but here he's improved as a character. We follow Shu in Bangkok, where his cousin has been drugged, and Shu gets himself in prison in the middle of nowhere called Hades, which it sounds like a Disney villain in my opinion. And his fight introduction in Hades was obviously a prison cliche, where if he's the baddest motherfucker in the prison and you don't want to fuck with him again, it's an obvious cliche. When Shu gets captured, Ray gets Trent DeRosa, played by Dave Bautista, and I like Bautista's presence in general, especially for movies like these. And I did see Hotel Artemis in theaters recently, and I thought that was a fun movie, so in my opinion, he's a fine presence on screen. And I like the shootout between Ray and Trent against Leon and his men from Rushko, who's Shu's cousin's enemy, as we find out earlier in the film. The two-way fight between Shu and his cousin versus the two other prisoners was just a one-way fight, and it was just a super stupid super stupid. Meanwhile, Lucas gets captured because he asks Hush, played by 50 Cent, which this time is a dull character to connect with, for a way to find someone who got Shu in prison in the first place, which sounds ridiculous because now Lucas gets himself captured, which terrible choice for the script in my opinion. It's hard for me really to connect with these fucking characters, for the fact they have absolutely no fucking arc in this movie. They're just not as badass in this movie as Arnold Schwarzenegger from last week. Shu's cousin gets hurt pretty badly, and Shu stands there to watch, not help, not by choice, and Shu goes to three pale looking guys to help him get a thing just so he can get the pale guys out of prison. Didn't make any sense to me, because they're gonna die by the end of the movie. Jasper, who I failed to bring up at the beginning when Ray lets him go from Ray's company, runs Hades and gets Shu and his cousin and Lucas captured, and is responsible for the drugging the cousin in the first place, and wants to make them rot in prison, which does make sense for plot revenge reasons, and makes Shu and Lucas fight off all the prisoners until they're knocked the fuck out. They capture Ray, and now he's in Hades against Jasper, and Ray gets his ass handed to him in Hush, with Trent planning on getting Ray, Shu, and Lucas out of Hades. And Shu's cousin gives out his company's information and Hush's amateur dentist skills, has a walkie-talkie and a tooth, and the connect with Ray was clever but tiresome. So Ray Shu and Lucas, with a lot of others, escape Hades, and with viruses, and the pale guys with an African American man. I'm sorry, I didn't catch their names. And Ray gets to Jasper. Shu fights off against the bodyguard with a knife, and Lucas finds a way to get back with the others. And when Trent breaks into Hades, looked like a very cheap shot. Ray versus Jasper was a brutal but an uneven fight for Stallone as an old man, but still beats up Jasper, which is a Sylvester Stallone action movie cliche, and I've always hated that cliche in general. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 4.7 out of 10. The dialogue was poorly acted because I can't connect with any of these fucking characters. The plot was absolutely pretentious, and the action was shaky cam kind of bullshit, and this is a better video sequel than Deep Blue Sea 2, which was just shit. But don't watch this thing if you saw the first one, because this movie is disrespectful to the other one. And especially without Arnold in there. I was actually wanting Arnold to show up in here. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and until the third one, which I heard rumors that they're going to be making, until then, it's time to escape.